Have you ever found yourself stuck in the same cycle? Your child melts down, you react, and afterwards you think, why did I do that again? You want to stay calm, you want to respond with love, but in the heat of the moment, it feels almost impossible. In today's episode, we're talking about the 3 ways that we tend to show up as the victim, the villain, or the hero, and how recognizing which story you're living from can completely change the way you parent and the peace you experience in your home. Mama, are you tired of meltdowns stealing the peace in your home? Welcome to Parenting Beyond Meltdowns. I'm Amanda, a Christian life coach and a mom of a strong-willed neurospicy teen. If you've tried everything from consequences, parenting books, crying out to the Father, and still feel like you're failing, you're not alone. Inside this podcast, we'll explore how faith, emotional regulation, and connection work together so that you can parent from a place of peace, even in the hardest moments. You don't have to hold it all together here. This is a safe space to lay it all down. Welcome. Today, let's read a review from Karen S. Karen says, Amanda is so knowledgeable and leads with her heart. Highly recommend listening to this podcast. Incredibly helpful and informative. Thank you, Karen. If you would like me to read your review on the podcast, head over to Apple Podcasts, scroll to the bottom of the episodes where you see the words ratings and reviews. You should see several reviews there already. You can just click 5 stars and then leave a written review. When you leave a review, it helps mamas just like you find the podcast, so thank you. There was a time in my life when I felt like I was constantly reacting. Every morning felt like walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next meltdown would happen. I wanted to be patient, but the truth is I felt powerless. I kept trying to fix my child's behavior, but deep down I was exhausted and overwhelmed. Last week we had one of those moments. It had been a while, so it was a shock to the system. But it's so funny how we can easily step right back into old patterns. I left the situation in tears and went and hopped in the shower. I don't know about you, but the shower is where I go to cry and process with the Father. I stood there in the shower with the water pouring over me, having the thought that I literally just did the opposite of everything that I tell you guys to do. I tell you not to speak your fears out loud. I tell you to choose connection over control. And I realized that I wasn't responding to my child. I was responding to the story that I was believing about what was happening. That's when I started thinking about a concept that my life coach taught me. Maybe you've heard about it. At any given time, in any given situation, we can decide to be the hero, victim, or villain in our story. The truth is, we all play these roles at different times. And when we learn to see which one we're living from in the moment, we can start choosing peace on purpose. Before we dive in, I want to share what this concept actually means, especially if this is brand new for you. It's called the hero, victim, or villain lens, and it helps us recognize the role that we're playing in our own story. You see, every time we react, whether it's through frustration, withdrawal, or grace, it's coming from a story that we are believing in that moment. This concept helps you to slow down long enough to notice which story you're living out of and which one the Father is inviting you into. The victim believes that life is happening to them. My child's behavior is ruining my peace. This role feels powerless, reactive, and stuck. The villain believes they have to control or punish to feel safe. If I can just make my child behave, then everything will be okay. This response usually comes from fear, anger, or shame, trying to manage pain through control. And then there's the hero, who takes responsibility through love and awareness. With the Father's help, I can choose peace no matter what is happening. The hero partners with the Holy Spirit to respond instead of react, taking thoughts captive and creating from faith instead of fear. When we begin to notice which role we're showing up in, everything changes because awareness gives us a choice. We no longer have to feel trapped. And when we partner with the Father in that awareness, we can move from reacting in fear to responding in faith. Let's look at what it actually looks like in real life. So here's a real life example of going to church, like the morning of church. In this situation, your child refuses to get ready for church. You're already running late, emotions are high, and this isn't the first time this has happened. So if we were the mom showing up as the victim, we might say something like, why does this always happen? I can't even have one peaceful morning. If we were to wrap this in the creation cycle, our thought might be, I can't handle this anymore, feeling defeated and powerless. Our actions might look like withdrawal, maybe even crying or wanting to give up. The results equal disconnection and shame and feeling stuck and hopeless. So your child as the victim. They may not actually be saying this, but it's what their behavior is communicating. You never listen to me. No one cares how I feel. Their thought might be, I don't have any control. They might feel powerless and unheard. Their action might look like meltdown screams, refusal to move. The result reinforces the belief that no one listens to them, and the cycle continues. So, what does it look like when mom shows up as the villain? That's enough. Get your shoes on right now. We're not going anywhere again this week. The thought might be, I have to make them obey. I'm feeling angry, frustrated, fearful, judgmental. My actions might be to raise my voice, threaten, or punish. The result ends up being temporary compliance, possibly, or just more refusal. But the emotional distance and shame follow. What does it look like when our child looks like the victim in our eyes? They see us as, you're so mean. I hate church. Their thought might be that we're trying to control them. They feel angry and defensive. They can talk back, escalate, dig in harder. The result looks like a power struggle. No one feels heard, and the relationship fractures a little bit more. So, what might it look like to show up as the hero? As mamas, we can take a deep breath. We can whisper a prayer saying, Father, please help me to see my child through your eyes. You might kneel down next to your child and say softly, I can tell that you really don't want to go, and that must feel hard. I want to understand what's going on. The thought might be that my child is struggling, not giving me a hard time. That this creates a feeling of compassion and calm inside of us. The action looks like regulating ourselves first, connecting before correcting. The result might be that tension softens, that you're modeling peace and safety, opening space for your child to co-regulate. So what does it look like your child being the hero? They take a shaky breath. I just don't like it when everyone looks at me. It makes my stomach hurt. The thought might be that mom's listening to me. I feel safe and seen. The action might be that they start calming down, that they maybe agree to go in a few minutes. That might result in that connection is restored and that you both grow in emotional awareness and trust. But there might be another situation where peace doesn't come right away. What if your child refuses to go? Even then, you can stay the hero, because being the hero isn't about fixing the outcome. It's about staying anchored in peace even when the storm doesn't pass right away. So maybe you take a deep breath, you step away to pray, and you say, okay, I can tell that you really mean that. I'm going to go finish getting ready and we'll talk about it in a few minutes. You hold your boundaries with calm and not control. You remind your child and yourself that peace in your home isn't determined by behavior, it's modeled through presence. Sometimes the most powerful ministry happens when you choose connection over correction, because that's where the real growth happens for both of you. What I'm here to tell you is that in my situation, I didn't see the result I wanted that day. And there's no guarantee that your child is just going to fall in line and do what you want, because they have free will also. I'm here to offer hope that in my situation, my child did end up coming around. He came into the living room with tears in his eyes. Honestly, he was sobbing, and I haven't seen that since he was young. And he just sat down on the couch next to me and scooped me up, because he's way bigger than I am now. And he just told me he was so sorry. And he actually volunteered that he's just been holding it so much in, and that he's just been feeling so angry because he's had to follow so many rules all the time. And in that moment, I realized that he's been masking for several years now. And I think that he's starting to hit burnout. In my child's instance, lots of rules feel like demands to his brain, which creates an anxiety within him, and it feels like a loss of autonomy. This causes anxiety and distress in him. So we are just now to the point where he can verbalize what he's thinking and feeling, but it's not his first thought to tell me. I usually have to figure it out myself. This was a big step for us, but not without heartache. This is why it's so important for us as mamas to remember, and I say this for myself too, is that behavior is communication, and that it's our job to figure out what they are communicating. I still forget to do this sometimes. I just did it this week, especially when I'm feeling like the victim or I'm scared, because we're humans. I do not want you to beat yourself up with anything that I am saying. I'm just trying to give us all better options, because again, I'm still doing this and I'm not done. Situations are going to arise. This is a daily walking out of the things that I'm teaching you. This is why I stress emotional regulation so much. We cannot show up as our best selves and help them if we are just as dysregulated as they are. When we come to the relationship or their circumstance fully regulated, ready to be the anchor in their storm, that is when we show up as their hero and our own hero. I also want to speak to the mama that might be in the middle of burnout with your child. I see you. I know that it is not easy right now, and I know that your child isn't even close to quote unquote getting on board with whatever it is that you think that it looks like for them to be on board. You might not even be able to leave the house right now because their anxiety is so high. You might feel trapped in this life. You might feel like it's never going to get better. What I want you to know is that you can anchor yourself and show up for yourself no matter how your child is showing up right now. Maybe all you see right now is a villain in your child. I've been there. There is no judgment from me. There is only love and open arms. I want to remind you that your Father is right there with you. He has not left you. I heard Megan Fate Marshman recently say that trusting the Father looks like just telling him where you are in this very moment. You can tell him exactly where you are, and I believe with all of my heart that he will meet you there. Tell him it's hard. Tell him you're scared. Ask him for what you need. He sees you, Mama. He hears your heart, and he is holding it in the palm of his hands. He is a safe place to process all of this. I want us to remember that the situation doesn't have to change for peace to come. You can carry peace into every situation. Each time you choose to step out of the victim or villain role and into the role of hero, you're choosing faith over fear, love over control, and peace over chaos. This is how you become the calm in your child's storm, being the hero when they can't. This week, I want to anchor ourselves in Galatians 5:22 through 23. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. We get to decide to bear this fruit when our children can't. We get to model bearing this fruit to show them what it looks like for them to do it in their future. The Father has placed all of these within us. This week, the challenge of the week for you is that I want you to pay attention to which role you find yourself in when conflicts happen. I want you to do this without judgment. I want you to ask yourself, am I reacting from the victim, the villain, or responding as the hero? What thought am I believing right now? And then I want you to pause and I want you to pray and I want you to say, Father, help me to take this thought captive. Help me to see your child and myself the way that you do. And when you do this, watch how peace begins to grow. Mama, if you want to go deeper into encouragement like this, join my insiders list, where I share faith-filled reminders, emotional regulation tips, and real-life tools to help you stay anchored in who the Father says you are. The link is in the show notes. Hey, sweet mama, I hope you loved today's episode. Can you do me a favor? If this episode spoke to your heart, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a mama in your life who needs to know they are not alone? Also, would you leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts for me? It blesses my heart to know that this show is giving you hope in hard moments. All right, I'm off to grab some protein because love and grace flows easier when you're not just running on fumes and coffee. I'll meet you back here next week for another honest and hope-filled conversation. In the meantime, Mama, stay rooted in faith and anchored in love.